play and the second ever meeting between these two. The Marshall Thundering Herd and the Texas State Bobcats, each playing for their first win in SBC play. Coming to you from the Bobcat Soccer Complex, Brant Freeman.
So far on the season has a goal and 2 assists, but last year led the team with 7 goals and led the Sun Belt with 5 game-winning goals. Really a killer on set pieces, so you're going to have to keep a close eye on her. For Texas State, it's number 10, Helen Alomenu, a freshman from Accra, Ghana. 2 goals in her first 2 games. She's missed a couple games because she was on national team duty there for Ghana, and so I'm just really excited to see what she's going to bring here in this game tonight. Coming off the bench has been quite a spark here for Texas State.
Texas State 24-1 all-time in conference home openers. Marshall playing for its first road win of the season. We'll see which trend holds up tonight in San Marcos. You're watching Sunbelt Conference Soccer on ESPN Plus from the Bobcat Soccer Complex. We are back after this for the Herd and the Cats.
Our story began 125 years ago with a dream to educate, inspire, and build a stronger Texas by creating opportunities for anyone to make their dreams into something real. We've pushed the envelope and grown beyond what our founders could have imagined. We've embraced the future and found strength by breaking new ground and never forgotten the most precious values. This is our legacy, creating opportunities today, tomorrow, and for the next 125 years.
I'm Natalie Eister. I graduated in 2020 and I have a bachelor's degree in electronic media. I highly recommend applying for an internship because that's how I got my start here at St. Clair San Antonio. I love the fact that these people really want you to strive in all directions of the newsroom and go out and interview and take pictures and just really enjoy the field of work that I really want to do.
Check out news4sa.com/careers or call 210-366-1129.
Ladies and gentlemen, the power of a word. The anticipation, the adrenaline, the hair on the back of their necks rising. The crowd, the score rising. Greatness rising, the sun rising. Sometimes a word is best left all by itself. The Sun Belt Conference, 14 universities, 10 states, rising.
Every freshman at Texas State actually has to take a glass bottom boat ride here at the Meadow Center. So having that glass under the boat, you can see the water coming out of the aquifer. It is an incredible and powerful experience. You really can't find any water as beautiful anywhere else in Texas. So I'm a special education major, and I'm also really, really intrigued by outdoor education, which oftentimes does not overlap with special education because there's lots of mobility issues. And so I would like to kind of bridge that gap.
When you buy a home at Kissing Tree, the good times start as soon as you sign your contract. Explore our amazing property, try a new workout, or just get to know the neighbors. Whether you're building or choosing an inventory home, you can unlock the fun of our 55-plus community before you ever unlock your new front door. Call today to learn about big savings on select homes and home sites.
Surprise start in goal tonight for the Marshall Thundering Herd. Typically, it has been the junior Alexis Wolgamuth, but tonight, making her first career start in goal is Emma Duran, the freshman out of Angers, France. Big shoes to fill. Wolgamuth, who is here tonight, 137 career saves, 11 career wins, but Duran gets the duties at least to start the game here this evening. In the other goal for the Bobcats, it is Caitlin Draper, the sophomore out of Hutto, Texas. Draper about to take the field with her teammates. The sophomore leads the Sun Belt Conference in saves this season. In fact, she's averaging 6 saves per match. That ranks 19th nationally and her .875 save percentage, second best in the Sun Belt, 23rd of the nation. So that'll look at the keepers for the match. Now the keys to tonight's game. Katie, let's break it down.
Well, for Texas State, it's continue doing what you're doing. Keep that high press mentality. They love being the aggressors. They're really good at it. So just got to take it to Marshall here tonight. Now, on the flip side, for Marshall, they're a team they love to sit back and possess. And you know what that means when you're going up against a team that is so direct and high pressure? That means the counterattack is going to be open a good chunk of the time. So if they can capitalize on that, then they're going to have some success here tonight.
Bobcats coming off of a 5-match road swing that saw the team win twice, played at 3 ties, 2 of those in the Big 12, one of the other ties or the other tie coming in the conference opener against Louisiana. Marshall also coming off a conference opening deadlock against Georgia State. Off we go. Zoe Jr. Early chance. 12 seconds in. It is 1-0 Texas State.
When you talk about being the aggressor, talk about that high press mentality, they just played it to a T. Absolute execution there. And you just, and with the back heel flip here, amazing. And with the speed that Zoe Jr. has, she's almost always going to get on the end of it. I love the creativity there for Texas State.
Just beat her defender, Angela Fowler there, scoring at the top of the 18. It's been a relatively quiet season for Junior statistically. That is just her second goal of the season. Her first came early in non-conference play against Incarnate Word, and officially 14 seconds in they call it, but what a start for Texas State.
Start for Texas State. Tough start there for Emma Duran. I mean, what more can you really do there? Really tough, not expecting that ball to be on your side of the field so quickly and having to come off your line and really wake up. That's a tough start, right? But, I mean, Maggie Sumer up there with Zoe Jr., they've just been such an incredible duo up top, really creative stuff. I mean, that back heel from Maggie is some really next level stuff. I just love the speed of play and not wasting any time to get forward. It's a mentality that is really hard to coach. goals on the stat sheet don't exactly show their quality, but it's stuff like that that you realize, hey, this is a team that you have to take really seriously, even if you do have a goal 14 seconds in.
So now not at 1-1, by the way, the goal coming in the 11th minute.
Well, it's a full game here early on, even in 11 minutes. And I was going to say, I think it also speaks to the quality here at the Sun Belt, of just how much intensity we're seeing here early on.
Here's Bailey Fisher at the top of the 18, battling Lucy Hart. Natalie Leurb trying to dribble it away from Fisher. Good pass up along the far side. Trying to locate Junior. And a foul call against Marshall. Bobcats a free kick. 1:33 minutes to change to go in the first half. Kinley Bradley, the center back, with the free kick. Off of Somer and into the hands of Emma Durand. So again, this Texas State team was on the road for the last 5 matches, covering about a 3-week span. During the time, they had a chance to get to know each other pretty well. A lot of bus rides, plane rides, hotel stays, and that ball just outside of the post will lead to a goal kick here for Marshall. A lot of deep conversations, too, when talking to head coach Steve Holman as you look at the replay here off the shot from Ulloa. Those road trips to give you a chance to get to know one another.
Oh, yeah, they do. I really miss those road trips back in the day. I mean, even if you aren't, doing team activities to try to get to know each other, it kind of happens by default. You're stuck on a bus together or on a plane and in the hotels, and things happen just situationally that you'll never forget in the travel days. It's such an incredible experience for these young ladies, and happy that they get to have it, but that they also get to do team building stuff on the road too. Keeps things light and fun.
Here's Somer, got by Maria Chavez. Haven't had a corner tonight. Not going to get one here, or do we have one? Chavez looking back thought it was a goal kick, but no, we do have our first corner of the game. It's coming up for Texas State. They were able to score on a corner on the equalizer against Louisiana in Sunday's conference opener.
We'll have to look at it here. I mean, it looks like she's trying to just shield it out. Maybe the ball just barely touched her when she cut it back, but it's a tough call.
Fisher right there. Here's Maya Ulloa handling the corner. And it stayed behind that back line, so no play.
It's unlucky there for Texas State. It's one of those times when everything's all knotted up that you really have to take advantage of those moments, because I can guarantee you the game is only going to intensify from here. I think both teams got the heat check they needed early on, and now it's every man for themselves here.
Here's that press coming again. And a foul call against Lucy Hart. She pushed down Amelia Compston. And Marshall will get a free kick going the other way. And the free kick to be handled by Angel Fowler, who is one of 17 internationals on this roster for Marshall.
17, man, talk about the cultural differences in the makeup of a roster. That's got to be tough if you're a coach, just to help girls not only communicate well but adjust well, especially in the U.S. sports and athletics system.
Check that out. More than half the roster representing 12 different countries, 5 separate continents represented on this roster.
My goodness. But I bet that's a lot of fun. I hope they do an international potluck. That would be my thing. Everyone bring their favorite dish from home and have some cultural immersion. It's also 19 new players, so that also throws a bit of a monkey wrench into a building program.
Another one of the internationals there involved in this play, Fernanda Dantas, as Lily Erb goes toppling over her. See, think about the countries. Dantas from Brazil, highlighted Fowler. She's from England. Players from Portugal, Sweden, Norway, France. Just to name a few of the countries the players represent on this Marshall team.
All countries with quality soccer programs too, and I really love seeing international players. It just adds a different element to the game here too.
Throw in for Marshall. 1-1 our score. Under half an hour to go in the first half. Bobcats scored 14 seconds in. Time for the second fastest goal in team history. Marshall, the equalizer. Here's a good pass up ahead of Kaylee Smith. Smith with a cross. Looking for Somer. On the back end of the 6. Now Hartford Junior. Junior scored that quick goal for Texas State. Top of the 18. Smith going to work it back to Anna Dunch. Into Ulloa. And cleared away by Marshall. Three defenders around Zoe Jr. Drawing a lot of bodies, and a throw-in coming up for the Thundering Herd as the Bobcats give up possession.
Zoe with the speed too. You just see that white jersey coming out of nowhere. Running laps is what it feels like sometimes. I think things are starting to intensify, of course, but this is where you also want your ladies settling things down, not forcing too much.
Somer leaves it off for Ulloa. Shot got blocked. Now Annabelle Fisher with the shots. High and wide of the target.
It's a hard volley to hit because it's coming from your side. You're letting it go all the way over to your other foot. So you can see here, she has to go at it and it deflects. She's wise to just let it pass across the body, but in the bounce, it's hard to just drive over it. And especially when you have defenders closing down. But I appreciate and applaud the effort. I really do. I think it's that forward attacking mentality that Coach Holman has instilled in these ladies here is, hey, if you have a look, you better take it versus passing it back.
Somer in the 18. Taken away by Fowler. Whistle blows. And a deep throw-in coming here for Texas State with 26 minutes to go. Bobcats 4-3-3. Thundering Herd 2-3-2. And more importantly, both teams out to an 0-0-1 start in conference, each getting ties in the opener on Sunday. Somer for Ulloa, and again high. Early developments here, about 20 minutes in. Katie, what are you seeing from both teams?
Seeing a lot of good stuff. I like how Marshall has taken advantage of their opportunities, and I think this is a really great composed drop back of the ball from Maji. Not just turning and trying to run at goal and force it. I think if they can do a little bit more of that, eventually they're going to get a cleaner look and a cleaner ball back that they can finish with some power.
I think might have got a handball there against Victoria Mesa. And that'll lead to a Marshall free kick.
Mesa, another lady who participates for her national team there in El Salvador. Unfortunate, did just get her on the wrist on that one. But, I mean, talk about incredible talent that Coach Holman has on his team right now. Players on national teams. Also, a bit of an international roster. I'd say more Texans, but they still have some international flavor, that's for sure.
Those countries well represented by the flags that are behind one of the goals here. Newcomer from Mississippi State, Kaylee Smith throws it in. Talked about Helen Alerminu. She is now checked in on the first round of substitutions for the Bobcats. She's in for Maya Ulloa. And there is Alerminu from Ghana. Played for the Ghana national team first few weeks of the season in the Women's Under-20 World Cup. A lot of contact there between Zoe Jr. and McComas.
And it's an early substitution, 23 minutes into the first half here for her. Still plenty of time to get warm and to get moving. As mentioned, scored in her first 2 games, first 90 minutes as a freshman, I think is so impressive from a development standpoint. I mean, imagine how good she's going to be next season.
One of the goals she scored came with 11 seconds to go with the equalizer against Baylor. Free kick from Lily Erb. Tracked down by Alerminu. Nice pass from Mesa and a shot coming. Got deflected by Chavez. The Bobcats will get a deep throw in here.
It's a nice ball placed in and just a perfect timing of the run, but even better defended there by Maria Chavez. She's really done a great job just to stir things up over there on the right side.
Thundering Herd player falls down. Carolina Falco, one of the other internationals from Portugal. And Marshall to throw in. Goal for the Bobcats, Zoe Jr., 14 seconds in. Goal for the Thundering Herd, courtesy of Brooklyn McComas at the 11-minute mark. A lot of early scoring here. And a good sign for a Marshall team that, look, if you're not going to possess the ball a lot of the 18, you got to maximize possessions. On their first trip into the 18, they got a goal.
Right. I mean, and a team that has not been scoring a ton, that really is incredible there for them to be able to do that early on. Because since then, they've still struggled to get into the attacking third. They might possess well out of the back and getting into the other half, but it's still being a little more clinical there in the attack. And that's hard when you've got, again, all of this pressure coming from Texas State. As you can see, they're winning a lot of those 50-50s there in the middle of the park, and that makes all the difference.
No whistles. A Thundering Herd player went down. Action to the far side of the field. Back towards center to Helen Alerminu. Long distance shot for Alerminu. Over the top of the crossbar.
Really Erb building out of the back with that speed and touch. And then Alerminu with the finish. That was an incredible look. I mean, really too bad that that one wasn't able to go under the crossbar there for her. But I think that was just like a little snapshot of her quality that she's able to put up there towards goal, even from distance. But Lily Erb is another lady that Coach Holman had mentioned has just an incredible work ethic and work rate. You know, hold that thought.
Take away from Katie Porter. Second time Marshall's had it here in the attacking third. Side of the field has been tilted heavily in Texas State's favor. Marshall's got it right now in the 18. Bobcats able to clear it out at the 20-minute mark. Up ahead to Zoe Jr.
You know, in that last development up there for Marshall, they brought that ball back when they definitely could have had a breakaway.
Maggie Somer around 3 defenders. Shot coming, and it goes wide, pushes it just to the left. Had a chance, and she knew it.
still really quality stuff from her. I mean, look at that turn, the ball on the outside of the cleat. She drives it forward. She's staying composed, though, there. You can see she's not losing control of it. And then it's that touch to the side where she's trying to make something of it, but she still had a look. She still had that awareness of where the goal was, just a little shy of the post. But you can see the difference play out here in those last two developments at goal. Marshall had the tendency to go back, try to find a clearer look, whereas Texas State is just giving their all, just getting towards the end line.
Two Thundering Herd players go down, may have collided with each other. They're going to stop play. Amelia Compton and Bailey Fisher right into one another.
Really unfortunate there. I mean, that's tough. It's happened to the best of us. I mean, you've got another player in the mix. She kind of pulled back, and then you just don't see your teammate coming out of nowhere trying to shut it down too. And with concussions nowadays, you don't want to take your chance with anything. Cover all the protocols.
Well, Fisher is able to pop back up. Now they're looking at Compton, sophomore from Charleston, West Virginia. A transfer to this Marshall program from West Liberty. As you see, Rafa Simos, Marshall's head coach, visiting with his team right now with a stoppage. First season as Marshall's head coach of the women's program, but not new to the university. Previously an assistant for the Thundering Herds men's program. Also not new to coaching women's soccer. Time as an assistant at Division II Nova Southeastern and at Ohio out of the MAC.
I feel like it's always interesting when you have a coach who's been coaching men and then women. It is definitely a different dynamic. There's probably a lot of stuff you could say to guys that you can't say to gals. But all in all, at the end of the day, it's the same. The game's the same. Everything's the same. Field size, everything, tactics. And I think I would argue that women actually tend to play tactically better at times. So, you know, maybe I'm biased.
You?
Me? No. But if you really look at high-level women's and then high-level men's soccer, I think you can see where women tend to be very cerebral, patient with their development of the ball. But again, you get that on the men's side too.
Nice ball in towards the goal over the top of the crossbar, though, will lead to a goal kick for Caitlin Draper.
They seem to love those deep shots. I think can expect a lot coming from distance, but they're also the kind of team that could switch things up. So you never know. Just a bit of a chip there that didn't have the power behind it. Lobbed. I think maybe even if that had fallen shorter of the post, Draper might have been able to handle that one.
Shot came from Fernanda Dantas. Maggie Somer is checked out, and Sydney Boss has taken her place. Foul against Marshall. Bobcats will get a free kick here for a team that went unbeaten in that 5-match road swing. Got a pair of wins over McNeese and A&M Commerce. A couple of ties against the Big 12, Baylor and Oklahoma State, and the conference opener at Louisiana.
All really impressive. I think Coach Holman did a great job lining up his preseason with some opponents that are really tough, others that might build some confidence, but either way, you learn so much about your team regardless of who they're playing, and to be able to have the last couple of road games undefeated says a lot about where this program is going to. I know that was a bit of a struggle last season, and so, you know, when you can win on the road and at home, that's when you find real success.
Sydney Bassa battling for a corner. Marshall looking for that goal kick, and they're going to settle, or they will get the goal kick call here. That was last touch by Bassa. It was funny, you referenced the ties, and you said Steve Holmes looked back at the play here. Bassa battling with Chavez. Steve Holman says there are good ties and there are bad ties. He thought the tie against Oklahoma State was a good one, but he really felt that Texas State should have won the opener in Sun Belt play on Sunday.
I know exactly what you mean. I mean, there's games where you've played your heart out, you leave everything on the field, and you're really happy with the result.
Mesa with a shot. Victoria Mesa from distance. Beyond the 18, third goal of the season, and Texas State back on top.
Absolute perfection here from Mesa. I mean, the first touch sets her up perfectly. She stays composed in front of goal, keeps that chest down right into the side netting. It's an unfortunate turnover here from Duran, but it's Texas State that makes her pay for it, capitalizing on that goal. And you talk about ties and wins. Conversation we just had. This is a team that wants it. I think it's very clear that they were not happy with that last result, that last tie to open up the Sun Belt Conference. They have been goal hungry from the get-go. They've been the aggressors from the get-go. They've been winning their 50-50s, really dominating here in this game. And now to have goals follow and show for their hard work, that's really the best thing to have when you're out there on the field.
So a two-goal first half for the Bobcats, and first halves have been important to build leads. All four of the wins this season have come when they've led at half. That's way out of play, and a goal kick coming up here for Durand and Marshall. So Victoria Mesa, sophomore from El Salvador, herself spent some time playing for her national team last year. Very similar set of circumstances surrounding Helen Alarminu for this Bobcat team. 6th career goal. 3rd this year. Her first 2 came in Big 12 competition against Houston and Baylor.
Coach Holman had mentioned that Miss is actually really good out of air too. I think she's just a quality player across the board. I mean, can put it away from any distance, and then also to be able to dominate out of the air to create plays. That's really a key piece there in the lineup. Again, so many ladies on this team. He has a ton of depth, a ton of quality and talent.
One more goal note for you. The Bobcats set up another corner here. This is their 3rd of the night. So they've changed the official time for Zoe Junior's goal from 14 seconds to 12. And it is tied for the fastest goal in team history.
Wow.
Long pass in.
I mean, it's one thing to have a goal. It's another thing to be tied for the fastest goal in history for the program that you play for.
I recall relaying a stat a few broadcasts ago. We like to sprinkle in those fun facts for you that the fastest goal in the history of Division I soccer, I think we said it was 3 seconds in.
How? How does it even get there? Do they just hit it from the circle, the
Has
center
to-
circle,
has
one
to
touch?
be.
Has to be a one-touch chip of the keeper.
But 12 seconds is pretty good.
Yeah. And I mean, that's really plenty of time to see the ball coming and to get back in the net, too. So that keeper must have been tying her shoe or something.
Jelena Seaver from Milwaukee was the one that scored that record-setting Division I goal in 3 seconds. Zoe Junior 12 seconds into this one. 2-1, Bobcats on top. Marshall's lone goal, courtesy of McComas in the 11th minute. Victoria Mesa the go-ahead moments ago. Free kick here for Kenley Bradley. Was the one that got the equalizer Sunday against Louisiana, her first career goal. Alarminu to Mesa, back to Alarminu with her shot deflected in the 18.
I like that quick 1-2 touch there, though. Despite there being a lot of congestion, they were still able to kind of try to work something through there.
Another round of substitutions here. One of the players you saw just walk off, Lily Erb, who you were talking about earlier. Steve Holman calling her one of the unsung heroes of this team.
Right. He said if you look at the GPS data, every one of these players is wearing a GPS tracker. They look at how much they've run, how much of the field they've covered. He said she's always in the top one or two. And not only that, she has a ton of creativity, just a really key piece there for them on that side of the field.
Thought she may have been checking out, but you see it. Herb is not. She stayed in. Fourth on the team in minutes played this season. Lily Herb from Austin, Texas. Only Lucy Hart, Kinley Bradley, and Victoria Mesa played more minutes than Herb has this year.
Wow. I think that's really the tell all most of the time is how many minutes they're going to keep you in the game. You may not have a goal, but if you're playing every minute, that means you're absolutely needed.
High ball in the air. Bassa, the attacker, out near the keeper, Durand.
I mean, anytime you're going to challenge the keeper in a situation like that, the keeper's always going to win. Ribs exposed. She's going up, and you can see there's an elbow in her chest there. So, yeah, she's going to get the call for that.
Been a challenging debut for Durand. Again, starting in place of Wolgamuth tonight, gave up that early goal. And then the second one was after a turnover on her part.
That really is unfortunate. I mean, I will say she got right back in the game after that 12-second goal. I mean, what else can you do but try to be forgetful of it and get back in it and act like it never happened, right? But I think in that second goal, that's where, a keeper begins to struggle, especially since it was a turnover on her end too. She didn't clear it the way that she should have. I think she was trying to create a driven lower ball out of the back, and Mesa was just there to pick it up and made her pay for it.
Luisa Travassos going down. This later free kick here from Marshall. Travassos Jr. from Rio de Janeiro. Got pushed down by Herb.
A bit of a clip from behind as well.
And the free kick will be handled here by Katie Porter. Had an eventful Sunbelt opener in Atlanta against Georgia State. Assisted on Fisher's equalizing goal that also got a yellow card. A two-player wall between Phillipson and Herb. Herb splits away. Ball into the 18, headed away by Texas State off of Victoria Mesa. Now Sydney Bassa with two attackers to her right. Up ahead for Herb. Phillipson to her right. Herb, the shot, and what a play by Durand.
These ladies have got me on the edge of my seat over here. Good stuff from Texas State, getting it out and up quickly, trying to make him pay on the counter, but well done. Emma Durand coming off her line with speed, I think making up for some of the stuff that we saw earlier. And, it's so tough as a keeper. You've not been playing the full time. There is no, no experience like game experience. I mean, you can do as much as you can in practice, but it's just not the same as going up against a wild card of an offense every single game with the other team. And so, you got to hand it to her. I think it's fair to have a couple of mistakes early on, but really well defended there from her in that last run of play.
What did you think of the decision by Herb not to play back to Phillipson?
Well, I think Herb might be one of those players who's not typically in a one-on-one position with a keeper. I've been there myself as a defender, and it feels like a bit of a shock. You're like, yeah, where do I go? I'm cutting off my angle. The keeper's coming out with speed. What do I do? And so you're hoping maybe you can find a quick seam underneath. I think that's what she was going for. You can see here breaking away. You also see over here that if she had passed it over, it would have been offside. So it's almost like she also had to take it there. But there's always the option to leave it as a drop ball. But as I had mentioned, if you look at every time Texas State is going into the attack, there is no going back home mentality. It's move forward. If you got to look at it, you're taking it. And so I think she's probably just falling in suit there with, the philosophy, so to speak.
Fouling is Texas State. Marshall with a free kick here. And it looked like Riley McKinney, the one that got pushed down. More of that Bobcat press. Phillipson, and here's the whistle. Victoria Mesa got locked up with Travassos, and a yellow coming up against Travassos.
Well earned a yellow, I would say. They had 2, 3 ladies moving into the attack, so I would say one of the smart fouls. As you can see there, they're going in to the challenge, but that was a borderline football takedown.
Yep. You hear the term tackle a lot in soccer. Well, that was a American football
Yes,
tackle
an American
there.
football
Yes.
tackle, not a soccer tackle by any means. Tactical tackle. Say that 5 times fast.
Tactical tackle.
Yes.
I'm not going to say it fast, though. Marie Philipson from Offenburg, Germany, with the free kick, and Duran makes the play.
When Duran is required to come up big, she does it. Most cases, she gets up to meet the ball. She comes off her line with speed. It's just been a couple of unlucky moments, I think, here so far for her.
Brought up Phillipson's name a couple of times, a player that's missed a lot of time this year, coming off an ACL injury from a year ago. Has recently been dealing with hamstring issues. When she's out there, makes an impact. Had a couple of assists in one of those road matches the Bobcats played in over the last few weeks. And the winning is A&M Commerce. Here is Phillipson. Plays it back. Trying to weave through multiple defenders. A call in the 18. And this could lead to a PK here.
Have a look back at it. She's got it. She's trying to bring it down. Nice little Cruyff as she keeps going. And then, ooh, that's a juicy tackle right there in the box.
In the 18. And now for Texas State, a golden opportunity to take a 2-goal lead.
And again, it's great composure. She's pulling all these defenders in, but you got to be smart there when you're in the box. You can see she was trying to go for the ball. Looks like frustration's running high. Ref has some words.
One of the Marshall players yet to get up here.
Might be trying to ice the shooter, as they say in basketball. Trying to take their sweet time. Get them a little cold in their head. If I were her, for me personally, I'd be playing around with my teammates, chit-chatting, not even worrying about this. You don't want to sit there and think too hard about it, which looks like she kind of did.
Maria Chavez being looked at by the team trainer. Freshman out of Lisbon, Portugal. Making her 7th straight start tonight. Teammates take the opportunity to get some hydration here. About an 85-degree night, but talking to Steve Holman, he wished it were hotter. I believe that would have been an advantage for Texas State, playing against a team out of West Virginia.
I'm sure his players are saying, how dare you? But he's not wrong. He's not wrong at all. When you're used to practicing at 4 or 5 o'clock, I'm sure, to prepare for these games, that's definitely an advantage there. But good work from Marie Philipson, coming back from injury, doing well to hold her own, to stay composed there up top, and to just draw the foul.
Sydney Bassa's already made a PK this year. Going to take the shot here against Duran. This for a 3-1 lead. Bassa makes it 3-1 Texas State.
Looks like we know who the PK taker is here for Texas State. As long as she's on the field, it's going to be all hers. She lines up, she goes for that easy lower right 90. Has some good pace on it, but Emma Duran guesses the right direction. Almost had it. I think had there been any less pace, it may not have gone by her.
Has a sign ready to go as well.
Who's the Bassa? Sydney Bassa. Nice.
Three goal scores for Texas State. Bassa, Mesa, and Junior. Again for Bassa, 3rd goal of the season. Other two came against Southland Conference competition. Back to our guy with the sign. How well prepared was he, huh?
Oh man, it's like he knew.
We were just talking about the sign guy. We just got word that now, while it looked like his timing was great, going to create that one sign. If she comes through with a goal, I've got it ready to go. He has 16 on hand, though.
That is dedication and commitment. He needs Fan of the Year award.
What I-
That should definitely be a thing.
But what I'm curious about is he have great wordplay for all 16, like he did for Who's the Bossa, right?
Right. Surely, if you're putting that much effort in to bring a sign, it better be a good one.
Speaking of Bossa, here she is out in front, and Duran able to dive and make the play.
I wonder if they get to keep their signs at the end of season, or if they graduate. I would want that. That'd be cool.
Marshall has not scored more than one goal in a match all season. They've got to find a way to get two past Draper. Down 3-1 here. Under 5 to go in the first half. But again, the field has been heavily tilted in Texas State's favor. For Marshall, I believe it's only been about 4 or 5 trips inside the attacking third all night. Granted, the first time they did, McComas got one by Draper. Look at the shot disparity. 17-3 in favor of Texas State.
Right. Texas State, if they're down in the attack, they're going to have a go at it. They're going to have a shot on goal to some degree if they've got any kind of look at all. Whereas Marshall, they want to bring it back and recycle it. They want to find the perfect seam. Maybe something to address as they move forward in season, having more of an attacking mindset when you're there in the attacking third. Again, there was a couple of times where they had a ball. They maybe could have had a breakaway. They just didn't show that kind of aggression there up top. Those are the kind of things that, change games and results there. So just knowing when to go, knowing when to pull it back. But that first goal from McComas might very well could be a goal of the week. It was beautiful. Just beating the defender and then opposite side netting, just good stuff.
Don't see me score from that angle.
Right.
Here's Bossa for Texas State. Alarminu behind her. 3.5 to go in the first half, a 3-1 lead. 2 unanswered scored by the Bobcats.
But, 4 goals in the first half, it's one heck of a game. And if you're trying to get someone to start watching soccer, this would be the one. Lots of goals early on, and got to wonder what adjustments they might make at the half.
Lily Erb got tangled up with the defender inside the 18. It was Erb and Fernanda Dantas. Also been a pretty physical first half as well. Combined 12 fouls called so far.
Right. You can see the frustrations running high there for Marshall. And if I'm, their coach, I'm saying, yes, as you should be, a little frustrated, at least, showing some intensity and physicality. Trying to slow the roll there from Texas State. And as mentioned, they're also the aggressor. So that's going to, push some buttons after a while.
Mesa goes down, got tripped up by Fisher. Haven't called her name a lot tonight. Bailey Fisher, who we highlighted in the open from Harrican, West Virginia.
Right. I almost half expected her to take the one set piece they had earlier in this half, but
was the player that got the equalizing goal against Georgia State on Sunday. And the free kick will be handled here by Phillipson. Final 100 seconds of the first half. Left-footed kick. And Duran makes another play outside of the 6. Freshman keeper from France making her debut tonight in place of Alexis Wogemuth. Halftime coming up. And we'll talk about the Sun Belt Conference Weekly Award winners, these early Sun Belt standings as well, and also the United Soccer Coaches Top 10. And there's a team in there that snuck in on the latest poll that Katie's going to be happy with.
Go Dogs. Something to say.
There were actually two matches in the Sun Belt Conference played yesterday due to the hurricane of the Southeast Coast. Both were scoreless games between Georgia State and Troy, and South Alabama and Southern Miss. Both of those matches taking place in the state of Alabama. And 4 other matches happening tonight.
I remember traveling to Troy and playing them in preseason.
Final 5 seconds here, the first half, cleared away by Texas State. And the Bobcats will take a 3-1 lead into halftime against Marshall. The tone was set early. A goal 12 seconds in. Bobcats scored twice more, and they lead the Thundering Herd 3-1. Halftime coverage coming up. You're watching Sun Belt Conference Soccer on ESPN+. We're back after this.
I'm Jordan Heidema, and soccer is just one part of my story. Jordan outside of soccer is a little bit different than Jordan in soccer. I have moments where I can be silly, I have moments where I can be serious, and you definitely get a sneak peek into who I am with what I wear. Off field, I mean, like street style, baggy stuff. I don't think there's like a gender in clothes. Whatever you feel confident in, go rock it. TJ Maxx. Maxx what makes you, you.
Jersey Mike's freshly slices it right in front of you, the authentic Jersey way. You can't fake that. And look, you can fake a lot of stuff these days. You can fake my outfit, but you can't fake freshly sliced turkey. You can fake these haunches, but you can't fake freshly sizzled bacon. Nay, you just can't fake a freshly sliced Jersey sub. It's nice to be back in my real body. Number 13, please. Made the authentic Jersey way since 1956. It's a Jersey Mike's thing, a sub above.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
Things started off great, but once the new wore off,
they changed.
In the beginning, I got gifts like a phone.
And then next thing you know, it's like I'm invisible.
So I switched up and got me a new phone carrier.
Don't put up with wireless yada yada. Now with Metro Flex, new and existing customers are treated the same. Free 5G phones when you join, same deals as new customers when you stay. Only at Metro.
The perfect day. Yeah, to put down some Scott's Turf Builder winter guard. It's perfect for giving the lawn a boost this fall.
Think you mean perfect for repairing all the fun I had this summer?
No, it's perfect for strengthening roots to help protect it all winter. More like perfect for giving the grass a deeper green come spring.
Sounds like it's perfect for your neighbor.
Yeah.
Who's gonna take this back?
Wait, what?
And borrow your spreader. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. Enjoy it. I'm going back in the shed.
Download the MyLawn app today for lawn care tips and customized plans.
Feed it, lawn. Feed it.
World, the time has come to
push the button.
World, the time has come to
push the button.
World, the time has come to
push the button.
Get this low mileage lease on this 2024 GMC Hummer EV pickup for around $849 per month. We are professional grade GMC.
It is really easy to get to the entrance of a natural area here in San Marcos. It's got to be one of our finest attributes for the city. You know, it's funny, a lot of people think, wow, trail building, like, don't trails just sort of happen? If you want a good experience, you want to really feel the natural world you're in, and you want to do it in a way that doesn't do any harm, that takes time and thought.
The work that the San Marcos Greenbelts Alliance is doing here at our community is good for us, but it's also paramount for everybody in the Central Texas region and beyond who wants to come here and experience this little gem of nature that we have access to. Gather around if y'all are ready. We're just working on Upper Paraiso today. We're working past the head cut. It's kind of a long hike out there. There's some wet rocks, so be advised. Man, it's cool. It's really positive. I've met a lot of really cool folks at Trail Crew over the years. It just means to be involved in your environment, in your community, like in the most direct way possible. If you care about nature, community, and the impact that you can make, consider coming to Trail Crew.
There's nothing better when somebody tells you how much they like their trail when you're out on the trail working on it. I'll give people a hug if they'll let me. This is something that's going to be in perpetuity. It is forever kept as parkland and is going to be here for my great-grandchildren's great-grandchildren. That's an amazing thing. It's a very good thing.
My name is Madison Keys. This is my 15th year playing professional tennis, but I'm more than just a tennis player. Sometimes athletes get mislabeled because they see us at probably our most stressed out. It's really fun to be able to try to express yourself outside of the arena so people really get to see all aspects of who you are. No matter the look, TJ Maxx has exactly what I need to express myself. Maxx, what makes you, you.
The perfect day. Yeah, to put down some Scots turf build a winter guard. It's perfect for giving the lawn a boost this fall.
Think you mean perfect for repairing all the fun I had this summer?
No, it's perfect for strengthening roots to help protect it all winter. More like perfect for giving the grass a deeper green come spring.
Sounds like it's perfect for your neighbor.
Yeah.
Who's going to take this back?
Wait, what?
And borrow your spreader. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. Enjoy it. I'm going back in this shed.
Download the MyLawn app today for lawn care tips and customized plans.
Feed it, lawn. Feed it.
The Kittles was filmed before a live studio pizza.
All right, here you go.
Look alive, dipsticks. I got Little Caesars. Did you get pepperoni? I want Italian sausage. It better be bacon pizza. Brothers, it's a 3-meat treat. It's got all those delicious toppings. Come on. Bacon, pepperoni, Italian sausage. And save Pop Kittle a slice. I'm a dog.
The Kittles love their 3-meat treat. Order your 3-meat treat for $8.99 and get your game day delivered with Little Caesars.
Pizza, pizza.
I joined SoFi because they've helped millions of members earn more money, save more money, borrow better, and invest for their ambitions. Join a generational player. SoFi, get your money right.
The only microwavable bacon of its kind is here. Raw to crispy in a few electric minutes.
PlayStation. Bobcats Soccer Complex where Texas State leads Marshall 3-1 at the half. Let's talk a little bit more about the Sun Belt Conference, starting with the weekly award winners in the SBC. Those honors going to JMU Dukes. Jenny Lackey, the Offensive Player of the Week, got her second brace as many games as the Dukes beat Southern Miss in the conference opener 7-2. Defensive Player of the Week honors going to Jamie Schwartz of James Madison. A couple of assists in the 7-2 win over the Golden Eagles, again helping lead some defense into offensive opportunities for the Dukes in the win over Southern Miss. So that'll look at the Sunbelt Weekly Honors. How about the standings early on? Looking back at opening weekend and the games played yesterday, the 1-0 teams in the East, App State and JMU. Meanwhile, Georgia State has now suffered a couple, or not suffered, but they played a couple of ties this year. Meanwhile, the West, ULM, the lone 1-0 team. South Alabama playing to a tie yesterday, has the only other win in the Sun Belt. That came on Sunday. They are 1-0-1. Bobcats and Louisiana both 0-0-1 in the West. Marshall 0-0-1 in the East. Now the United Soccer Coaches Top 10 poll. We mentioned one of those teams, somebody that Kaylee would like, and that would be Mississippi State coming in at number 9 of the latest Top 10.
That's right. Go Dogs. Woo-hoo. Very happy to see them there. I know it's been a long time coming for them. A couple of years of just quality stuff coming out of that program.
Top 5, Michigan State, Arkansas, Duke, North Carolina, and Wake Forest. Then Stanford, Florida State, Auburn, those Dogs Katie talked about, and Utah State's a non-P4, at least for now, in the top 10. Our score at the half, it is 3-1 Bobcats over the Thundering Herd. We'll take a look at the highlights and the stats. After this, you're watching Sunbelt Conference Soccer on ESPN+.
Louis! Cut! More mud! Action! Louis! Louis! Cut! Mud on her face! Louis!
Okay, everybody, that's lunch.
Mud mask?
No. No. No.
Compare hotels in the Hotels.com app.
Jordan outside of soccer is a little bit different than Jordan in soccer. You definitely get a sneak peek into who I am with what I wear. Whatever you feel confident in, go rock it. TJ Maxx. Maxx what makes you, you.
Okay, trainees, let's work on our fast and friendly claim service.
Eyes on the phone now.
Look alive, Drew.
Your repairs have been scheduled.
Nice.
Yes, you'll get a rental car on site.
Heads up. Oh, I'm gonna turn this down to an 8. My bad.
We can do this all day. Geico claim service is 24/7. Nice catch.
Your claim has been approved. Your claim has been approved.
For savings and service, get more with Geico. Now streaming on Disney Plus.
Our little girl's growing up so fast. And things couldn't be better.
It's demo day!
Hello, everybody. We are just super jazzed to be here.
Catch all the feels with the #1 animated movie of all time.
Yes!
It's the must-see family movie of the year.
She's got this.
Inside Out 2, rated PG. Now streaming on Disney Plus. And take advantage of a limited time offer.
After a long night of bringing home the bacon, there's nothing wrong with a nice, smoky nightcap. After all, it's 5 a.m. somewhere. Hormel Black Label Bacon.
PlayStation.
And welcome back to the Bobcat Soccer Complex at the half. 3-1, Texas State on top of the Marshall Thundering Herd. A very eventful first half of the 4-goal score. Taking a look at the first half highlights, we start with the start of the game. This was opening kickoff here, Katie, and the Bobcats take advantage early on, forcing a turnover, and it leads to a goal from Zoe Jr. 12 seconds in.
Not wasting any time, knowing that there's a counter at hand, and it's Zoe Jr. who's able to hold her own and finish the job there. But then it's a quick rebuttal from Brooklyn McComas. I think nobody was expecting that quick of a return, but she's able to hold her own against the defender, finds space, and puts it in the opposite side netting.
And then with a score tied 1-1, Victoria Mesa off the keeper turnover from Duran at the top of the 18.
And I think a big part of that was from Sydney Bassa putting that pressure on, and then later on she gets her chance to have at it with a PK there in the low 90. Just all good stuff from the Texas State soccer attack here.
So add it all up, a 3-1 lead for the Bobcats at the half against Marshall. Taking a look at the first half numbers, offensively, all Texas State, plus 15 in shot disparity, plus 4 shots on goal, fouls even 7 apiece. Talked about how physical it was in the first half. Corners 3-0 advantage Texas State's, and the Bobcats called for 1 offside. Marshall called for none.
I can't help but wonder how that might shift here at the half. I'm sure coach is saying win more 50-50s out there instead of bringing it back. Have a mindset to go to goal there if you're Marshall. Lots of things happens there at halftime.
So ready for the start of the second half. Goal scores again for the Bobcats. Junior, Mesa, and Bassa, and McComas scoring for Marshall. Texas State this year, we're leading at the break 4-0. And Marshall has not scored more than a goal in any match this season. They've got the work cut out for them, trailing by 2 as we start the second 45. In terms of adjustments, Katie, let's start with Marshall. They're the ones that are down by 2. What adjustments do they make?
Right, winning those 50-50s in the middle of the field, I think that's one of those things that doesn't necessarily require a ton of talent. It just requires reading the play a little bit faster. I think they've been a little reactive, and that's partly because Texas State has that high press. They're the aggressor. They kind of force their opponents into that mentality. But now that you've had a chance to take a break, look at it, it's about coming in, returning the favor, winning those 50-50s and the second ball. And then, of course, when you have that chance at goal, be a little bit more attacking minded. Maybe you don't have to drop it back and do the whole recycling thing. I know they love to possess, but there's a time and a place.
If you're the Bobcats, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Any adjustments they have to make?
Yeah, I think the only thing that I could say there is just being a little more patient, not trying to force the ball at times. But again, because they have that mentality to go forward, it's really paid off for them in their favor. So I can understand why they're doing it. So all in all, just got to keep doing what they're doing. I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to create another 1 or 2 chances here in this half.
We've seen a change in net. Alexis Wolgamuth is starting the second half here for Marshall.
Interesting. I mean, maybe it's just there was some competition there at practice. It's such a hard game for these goalkeepers. As Marshall has another breakaway. And Draper not really having the chance to need to save it or do anything there. But again, just I think the hardest position on the field, not only because of what they have to put their body through, but the eyes and the brain that they have to be out there on the field. But also, it's not like you can rotate in and out with anyone. You have one position. And so it's good to see that coach is trying to split minutes here and work into some depth. Also a tough game to walk into, being already down 3. But I'm sure when you go into something like that, you got to think, hey, it can only go up from here, and just bring your best stuff.
It's something you pointed out for Emma Duran. While she had some tough moments in the early goal, that turnover that led to the go-ahead from Victoria Mesa, there are also some bright spots for her as well.
Right. I mean, she did a lot of things really well. I think, especially in the big moments, coming up to meet the ball, coming off her line with speed, closing down, all outside of those moments, she had a lot of great distribution too. So, again, another tough part about being a keeper is when you mess up, you really pay for it. Whereas you can be a field player and you're messing up time after time after time in maybe the midfield, and you're not going to be able to tell what's happening, right, as much. But they're, those keepers and bright red are front and center. So she can pat herself on the back, though, I think, again, being her first game back here this season.
Free kick for Marshall on a Bobcat foul. That is her 8th. And the free kick to be handled by Leah Misch, freshman from Germany. Leads all freshman players from Marshall in minutes played with the free kick. Into the 18, headed away by Mesa. Play back in. Ball towards the 6. Mesa again clears it. And punched out of the 18 by Texas State. Up ahead for Zoe Jr. Trying to keep it in play, but she can't. Early on, second half, 3-1 Texas State on top.
And again, the tendency to go backwards there, I think if you did a passing map, vast majority of the passes are going to go back into the side versus forward here for Marshall. And again, against certain teams, not a bad thing, just not exactly maybe the best idea against a team like Texas State, who just loves to get up and defend high and high press.
Bobcat team trying to snap a two-match slide at home. Lost their last 2 home matches against good competition. Here's Maggie Somer off the post, but then knocked back in by a Marshall player for an own goal.
But you've got to credit the work there to Maggie Somer. She has been excellent all game long, unselfish, but there she gets to have a go at it. She's drawn the defenders in, she's putting it away. There's a deflection there from Wolgamuth. But man, how unfortunate. As you can see, she takes it, she has a go at it, and it's that deflection that gets her the goal.
Goes off of Fernanda Dantas, who's just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Et tu, Maddie, the French finisher. I love the sign guy. Someone needs to pay this guy because that's some good stuff.
So that's 4 goals. You've seen 2 of the signs so far.
Yeah.
Sad that we missed his signs for Mesa and for Junior earlier in the game. But we've seen him so far for Bassa and now for Maggie Somer. For Somer, it's credited as a team goal because it was an own goal there. So she does not get credit for that goal.
Was credit in my mind just for being the aggressor and bringing that pressure up top.
Just saw a yellow card administered to Leah Misch. Second yellow for Marshall tonight.
It's funny because you could see she looked at ref and she said, well, I said sorry is what it looked like. It's like, well, that doesn't count. No sorries in soccer. But I've definitely been there.
The other yellow was given to Luisa Travasos. And a 4-goal night now for this Bobcat team. Ulloa is going to leave it for Kaylee Smith. Plays it back to Ulloa. Middle of the 18, back to Smith. Smith heading towards the 6. Top of the 18, Chloe Jones. And Wolgamuth plucks it out of the air.
Good work from Wolgamuth there, getting off her line. As you can see there, trying to settle things down, get her team back in it. But man, that set piece even threw off the cameras. You know, I think that's well done stuff there from them. Not often does that actually work. It had me too.
Now Madison Towns for Marshall. She goes tumbling over. A no foul call against Texas State. A goal kick here for the Bobcats instead.
Good stuff there from the Texas State defense, but Marshall just couldn't quite make anything of it.
Fisher now for Marshall against Kaylee Smith. And this will lead to Marshall's first corner of the night.
Good stand up there from former Mississippi Stater Kaylee Smith. Really handling business out there.
As Mississippi State players tend to do. So I've been told.
Of course.
Mish handles the corner here for Marshall. That goes behind the net. Goal kick here for Texas State on top 4-1. They've added a goal to their lead here in the second half. That is just the second half goal Marshall has allowed all year. But a very good second half defensive team. But right now, the wrong good of a 4-1 tally.
You know, I think in these moments it's easy to get comfortable because you're up 3 goals. Not to say that they shouldn't be, but I think these are the moments where you can be working on other things, things that are going to help you to push forward in conference play. You know, just really dissecting certain decisions, certain plays into the attack, movements into the attack, especially while you have a bit of a comfortable lead. Still, you know, making it a productive half.
Again, Marshall coming in looking for his first road win of the season. The trailing here by 3, 0-3-1 on the road. Last road win came about a calendar year ago, late September 2023. Meanwhile, for the Bobcats, again, a recent 5-match road swing saw them go unbeaten. It is the first time in program history that they've ever had a road stretch of 5 matches or more and did not suffer a loss.
And I think that's really good stuff because especially when you get into the thick of it of season and, you know, they've got another road game coming up here and so many games squeezed into 1 week. That's the kind of stuff that really pays off when you've done it in preseason. Feels a little more natural to do it again in season.
Yeah, you said it right after tonight, getting ready for a road trip to Southern Miss to take on the Golden Eagles. The Golden Eagle team that gave up 7 in a loss to James Madison on Sunday.
Oof. Well, sounds like Texas State better stick to their scoring ways. Get a good opportunity for them, but of course you always want to respect your opponent in the Sun Belt. Anyone can win on any given day here in this league. But I think Coach Holman had mentioned a 10-hour travel time just to get there. And what makes it difficult is it's a midday game on Sunday. It's not a Sunday evening game. So that's really a quick turnaround to be. It's a good service in, but to be on the road for so long and to have to switch on. And that's when a lot of injuries happen too, when you're just sitting there, your muscles get tight after having just played too. It's a lot on these young ladies.
There will be an interesting storyline, though, in that match on Sunday. We've talked about Helen Alormenu for the Bobcats with the national team of Ghana when the season began, joined her teammates about a couple of weeks ago on the midst of that road trip. Well, for Southern Miss, a similar story. Rebecca Vega, playing for the Venezuelan national team, didn't join the Golden Eagles until a couple of weeks ago herself. So both players playing for their countries with their college teams getting their seasons underway.
Could definitely be a game changer, no doubt. You know, sometimes it just takes 1 or 2 connecting pieces to really make it all mesh together.
Did you experience that in your time playing college soccer where teammates are playing for the national team and didn't join you until about a third of the way through?
Yeah, we had a couple of girls on the Canadian national team, and you know, usually early on they would miss a couple, but yeah, they'd always come right back into the lineup. They were really amazing players.
Kind of feels like
Rachel, good times.
Kind of feels like a free agent acquisition in the middle of the season.
Yeah, it kind of does. But you know, it's also just expected. You know, there's a lot of quality talent out there, and I think our coaches were pretty fair about who was starting or not, based on who was missing or not, and understanding, hey, the call-ups are necessary. I remember playing a game against Florida though, and they had a girl on the actual U.S. Women's National team, the main one, and I will never forget because they had me mark her, and I looked bad. Let's just say that I did not look. She did not. She was good for a reason. She was definitely on the U.S. Women's National team for a reason. I don't remember her name, sadly, but I think that's the best player I've ever played against.
Got a Marshall player down here in a bad way.
Oof, that's
Larissa Osorio,
Neza might get booked for that one.
sophomore from Brazil. Her head coach, Rafa Simos, also from Brazil. Young coach, by the way, wrapped up his college playing career not long ago, 2017 at the University of Charleston. Also talked about international play, played for his home country in Brazil.
It's always impressive in the United States when men are able to find, Division I programs out here, because it's so hard for men. There's just not as many opportunities in soccer on the collegiate side because of Title IX. So always impressive when you meet a guy who's played at any level, really, in college soccer.
Good to see Osorio get back up under her own power, back towards the sidelines. Another international right there, one of the captains for Marshall, Kajsa Ekstrom from Umeå, Sweden. Has played in all but 20 minutes this year for Marshall and has gone the distance 5 times, including 3 straight matches. But Ekstrom coming off the bench tonight for Marshall. A lot of changes this evening for this Marshall team.
That happens. I can remember there being games where coach subs out the entire back line, or, subs out the entire midfield, or maybe they just see something develop and open up that clicks at that point in the game, and you start getting some different players in the mix. But it's the beauty of being so early on in the season. If you're going to make mistakes, now's the time to do it, so that you can work on things in practice as you move on throughout. If you're doing, if you're making some silly mistakes towards the end of the season, then that's a bigger problem.
Sure, matchups have a lot to do with it as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. It's not to discredit Texas State at all, and what they've done out here tonight.
Slide tackle there, no call. Up ahead, Junior Wolgemuth out of the 6 and makes the play there for Marshall.
Absolute fearlessness there from Wolgemuth. And I mean, she must have come off her line really fast to have been able to meet Zoe Junior, out that far. I mean, she's almost, halfway to the line out there in the 18.
"13 minutes gone by in the second. Foul against Texas State, 4-1. Bobcats on top of the Thundering Herd. Added a goal to their lead on a Marshall own goal in the second half. Ulloa running into Osorio, and that's the foul call there against the Bobcats. That is the 10th foul against Texas State tonight.
I think for Marshall too, if you want to be a possession-based team, you got to work on pace, pace of the ball, pinging it around with a little bit more speed. I think there's been times where the pass was just a little bit too easy to read, and so Texas State, they kind of camp out, they wait for it, they know where it's going to go, and the pace isn't fast enough, and they're able to pick it off there in the midfield. And again, great defending from Texas State, but also some things that can be fixed there for Marshall pretty easily. Just pick up the pace, 1-2 touch, start pinging it around.
3 other Sun Belt matches have gone final today. Georgia Southern 2-0 winners at Arkansas State. JMU out to a 2-0 Sun Belt start. beating Coastal Carolina on the road 3-1. The Dukes have outscored Sunbelt opponents 10-3, 2 matches in. Here's Junior now for the Bobcats. Playing it back towards the middle of the field, looking for Victoria Mesa. Now the well-conditioned Lily Erb, who we spoke about earlier. Took a shot early in the game, or earlier in the first half. One other final, Old Dominion beating ULM 1-0. Warhawks falling to 7-4 on the year. The only Sunbelt team with 7 wins this season. And right now in progress, App State at Louisiana. Mountaineers, like the Dukes, playing for 2-0 Sunbelt start. But this is all to say, this is still very early in conference play.
It's very early. Yep. Still adjustments being made. Still, at times, feels like preseason. Always love the couple of games leading up into playoffs because it's already starting to feel like playoff stakes are higher for a lot of teams, and you just see some spectacular stuff.
Kaylee Smith with a free kick. As Helen Alarminu will check in. She's come off the bench in each of the first or in each half of this match. Comes in for Victoria Mesa. Looks like Mai Uyo also checked out. Something about these conference matches, though, as we talked about Sunbelt play, the intensity does seem to amp up. And there's Alarminu's sign tonight.
Helena's gonna be a star. Loving the creativity.
So he answered the question we had earlier. The wordplay is in effect for all 16 of those cards that he has. And I think the number we're up to now, I think we've seen, what, like 4 or 5 of them so far?
Yeah, we've seen a lot. Even the coaches had one. ESPN Plus sign.
Every soccer player needs plus coaching. Is that what it was?
Positive
coaching.
Yes.
That's what it was.
Sounds like it if they're up 4. Well, up 3.
Yeah.
4-1.
Throw in to Maggie Somer.
Now Texas State drop into the back line, something you don't see often, but with pace. You see the difference? Really pinging it around, not wasting time. I like that they tried something different.
The field was tilted heavily in the Bobcats' favor in the first half, but a little bit more even here in the second. Marshall trying to take advantage of some of these opportunities in the attacking third. Ilani Mito was looking for the call there, doesn't come.
She was trying to pass and run around. That's not one that is easy to pull off there, especially in her position defensively. Just got clipped, I think, in the process.
Some mass subs here for Texas State. Haley Shaw has checked into the match. One of several Bobcats that just checked in with this comfortable 3-goal lead on top 4-1. Look at Bobcat keeper Caitlin Draper. Something special about the two keepers, both named Caitlin, one with a C, Draper, the other Crispin with a K. Kaylin Chrisman. Both have surpassed 100 saves this year. First time that's ever happened in program history. 2 goalkeepers hitting the 100 save milestone.
Really not something you ever hear happen. 2 keepers in the same season hitting that amount, and I think it's just that shared time that we've seen a lot this season. Last season, I mean, both really quality players doing great things, and I mean, what a great thing to have, and also a predicament to have, is 2 players who are that high of quality that they can share minutes in that really tough position. It's about keeping morale high as well in that spot.
Sydney Boston, one of the players that subbed in, had the PK earlier for Texas State. Annabelle Fisher in for the Bobcats as well, along with Hallie Garcia and Alexis Neal. Here comes Marshall now, trailing 4-1. Up along the far side, Katie Porter. Bobcats getting back defensively. Porter going to work it back. And that cross off target, no player on the backside. Bobcats will clear it out of the attacking third. Marshall trying to bring it back in. Mito in front of the 6. Deep in towards the corner. Got that right between Neal. Good looking cross there from Mito. And now Alarminu for Texas State.
Some good footwork there from Marshall. I mean, things starting to heat up a little bit for them there.
Mentioned Alarminu, and again, what an impact she's had since coming over from the national team of Ghana. Scoring twice on the recent road swing for the Bobcats. Included that late equalizer against Baylor. Big-time player off the bench for Texas State. As the whistle here stops play. 24-13 to go in the seconds, and a 4-1 lead for Texas State. It appears this is a free kick for the Bobcats, but we haven't seen the official mark it.
Yeah, not totally sure if this is meant to be a drop ball situation. They drop and pass it back, or if it's an actual set piece.
Whistle does blow after a delay. It is a drop ball, not a free kick for either team. And we resume. 24 minutes to go and a 3-goal lead for the Bobcats. Who have been so good in home conference openers this year. A stat we relayed at the start of the broadcast. This is incredible. Texas State has played 25 home conference openers. They've won 24 of them.
Wow. Now that's consistency. That's definitely home field advantage. Helps when you have people in the crowd making fun signs, I'm sure.
Don't know if that's been the case all 25 years, but you saw the stat there. That is the best record in the country and home conference openers, a .960 win percentage all time, and look to be on their way to a 25-1 record in such games.
Wow.
Alexis Neal now for the Bobcats. She's out there along with Annabelle Fisher, Eller Minu, Garcia, and Chloe Jones. Phillipson is also in for Texas State and had a productive first half. Aller Minu, and the whistle blows, the foul against Meto. And Aller Minu slow to get up.
Yeah, great looking there for Aluminu, but man, there was no breaks going into that tackle. And also, I don't know how much of that was looking for the ball either. Wouldn't be surprised if that one doesn't err on the side of a red.
10th foul against Marshall. Our first look tonight at Texas State head coach Steve Holman. Looking to pick up career win number 310 tonight.
Good to see Aluminu back on her feet.
And it would be his 26th at Texas State's. A free kick a few yards outside of the 18. Aller Minu. Aller Minu! What a shot!
And the celebration, I love it. That's probably my favorite part. But man, don't foul Aluminu because she will make you pay for it, especially right there at that spot. I mean, one heck of a set piece. We've seen some beautiful goals here tonight. That is absolutely one of them. Nobody's going to get to that. Doesn't matter what keeper is in the net, unless that's a 7-foot keeper. Just plays so well.
Talked about the immediate impact Aller Minu has made. And she has now scored a goal in her first 3 collegiate matches. The first Bobcat to score in her first 2 ever after missing the first 7 games of the year. Playing for the Ghana national team at the Under-20 World Cup. Or I beg your pardon, she's now scored 3 goals, yes, in her first 4 matches. Did not score against Louisiana on Sunday, but does there for a 5-1 lead.
It's one heck of a record, no doubt. And again, 5 goals, still 20 minutes to go. I mean, this is a team brimming with talent.
And also brimming with some confidence right now.
Yes, they should be, as they should be. Exactly what you want going into a road match. If you're a coach, it's telling them, hey, remember how it felt when you were up by 4 goals? Still 20 minutes to go.
Phillipson with the corner. That did not go in. Or did it?
Looks like it did.
It did go in. That's a goal. Kind of a delay there. Didn't see much of a reaction, but that did go in, and it's 6-1.
Can't help but feel for these Marshall ladies, but one heck of a goal. Let's see who this is going to be awarded to here. Looks like Phillipson.
So Phillipson with a corner. It's an own goal.
It's another own goal, but off an unfortunate deflection there. That's just so unlucky, especially for Wolgamuth, who just came in. You know, both goals against have been own goals, aside from that really beautiful set piece.
It went off the head of Ekstrom. So the second own goal against Marshall is Katie Hussein, both coming in the second half. And an insurmountable 6-1 lead now.
At this point, if you're Marshall, this just feels so deflating. You know, I think these are the moments where coach is on the bench and he's now looking at what are our players doing on an individual level, who's still giving their all right here in this moment, because these are the kind of moments I think that they pick up on as you go in through the rest of season. It's who's the mentally tough one out here, and who's still driving things forward. It's just really unfortunate there for them, but also well earned from Texas State. When you're down that many goals, it just has a trickle effect. The momentum dies, and that's why you're seeing they might get up, but their services in haven't been great, and it's just really trying to. It's like lugging luggage along with you up there when you have these moments.
Not played well by Wolgemuth. Fortunate that Strom was back.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, at this point, just focus on doing the basics well. If they, under these circumstances, can get a goal in before the end of the game, they can pat themselves on the back for that, for still bringing the heat. But things are looking pretty good here for Texas State.
And I would think for Marshall that this final 18 minutes and change is really about building something towards the home game coming up this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, spot on there, Brant. Just taking what momentum you can from this game, trying to reset.
So Marshall opening up Sunbelt play, 2 matches on the road. In Atlanta on Sunday, here tonight, back home or at home on Sunday to take on this coming Sunday the Troy Trojans, who just played a scoreless tie against Georgia State yesterday. 1 o'clock start in Huntington, West Virginia for the Thundering Herd against the Trojans. For the Bobcats, they're on the road again after playing 5 away from home. A pit stop here in San Marcos and then back on the bus for what Katie described as, yes, a 10-hour bus ride on I-10 heading east to Hattiesburg to take on Southern Miss. 1 o'clock start against the Golden Eagles on Sunday.
It's going to be a tough one. I think definitely a mental challenge, less about ability, because, I mean, we've seen the quality here, more about pushing through, having to play on the road after a conference game. Tough game, I don't know if I would say that, but conference game, yes. So good thing there's a lot of substitutions happening here for Texas State. I think at this point they're, realizing, hey, we got to save some legs moving into that road match.
Big smile across the face of Steve Holman, with Alarminu checking out. Looks like Grace Reddick's going to check in as well. Saw Kaylee Smith re-enter the game. Well, how about the job that Steve Holman has done with this program? 2+ seasons now at Texas State, about to pick up his 26th win against 14 losses and 9 ties. Longtime coach in the SEC, over 20 years in the SEC at Georgia, Ole Miss, and Auburn. And before Texas State was at Lamar, 2-time Southland Conference Coach of the Year. 3rd season with this program and doing some good things.
Yeah, it seems to get stronger every season. And I mean, you can see it from the recruiting perspective too. The more time the really good coach hangs around, the stronger the players are going to be because they want to play for something.
His team on top 6-1 as we play out the final 17 minutes and change here in the second half. Marshall looking to make the score look a little bit more cosmetic. Bobcats perhaps trying to play some add-on here, leading by 5.
I think the struggle is they just couldn't get numbers in the box there, and knowing what you know, rather than maybe putting it in at the 5, you should have put it in at the 18. Look for more of a drop shot.
Bobcats have brought in Caitlin Crispin, meanwhile, in goal now in place of Caitlin Draper.
All right, well, there you go.
When your backup keeper is 11th in team history in saves and 10th in wins, you got some depth in that position.
Yeah, it's definitely not a stab at anyone if you're bringing her in. I mean, she could just as easily have started this match. I think it's another example of how statistics really don't do justice for these two keepers.
Bobcat player goes down. A foul against Marsha here. Grace Reddick went down. Junior out of Dallas. And we'll give away the free kick here to Abby Miller. Well, the way this game is played out, the odds are if you put on the cleats for Texas State, you found your way into the game.
That's correct. And if you're a wise Steve Holman, you're throwing a lot of people in here right now who have not regularly had minutes just to make sure your starters also are feeling ready to go for the next game, but also just to see who you have, who might be that spark off the bench you didn't realize you had. These are the kind of games where people end up getting starting positions too, because you just, you play different when you walk into a game and you're up 6. The confidence is already there versus walking into it with fear. So I think it's a good game for freshmen and people who is trying to develop a little more. If I could tell Marshall anything, that it could be worse, right? It could be 7-1, and they could, shoot off fireworks after the game, like Florida did for Mississippi State while I was there one time. I don't think it was 7, but it was definitely 5 or 6, and then they just, rubbed salt in the wound by shooting off fireworks. So, definitely a lot to bring back to the drawing board, I'm sure. And these are the games you really, I think, learn the most from.
Yellow coming up against Texas State. They're going to flash that to Alexis Neal. First time the Bobcats would call for yellow here tonight. And tripped Emma Shields from behind.
I think we also forget that this team has 19 new players here at Marshall. That makes a difference, especially when you're going down goal after goal after goal. These are girls who haven't spent a ton of time together. They don't know, the blood, sweat, and tears. They may not have that telepathic vibes between them just yet, that you get when you've played with ladies for 2, 3, 4 years. So I think 19 players new to a squad is a lot. So can't really beat themselves up too bad.
And the bottom line is this is one match.
Right. Just one game. And it's important to not let these 90 minutes affect another 90 minutes.
And I think the same could probably be said for Texas State as well. Certainly this is a confidence builder. You score at least 6 goals in a game, outscore the opponent by 5, then you're going to be feeling really good. But there's also something to be said about bouncing back from a win. That's what the Bobcats are faced with Sunday at Southern Miss. The score will reset to 0-0.
Right. I think you're up 6-1. Anyone can win that game at that point. But what are you doing with the remaining 13 minutes? That's going to help you build into the next game. And I think it's making the more difficult passes. It's working on maybe things in practice that you haven't quite built up to yet, that are going to challenge you as you move forward. I think, a lot of this is a product of doing the basics well. And then when it comes time to playoffs and, NCAA tournaments, things like that, what's going to win games are sometimes going for the pass that most people wouldn't go for initially. And that comes from seeing the field. So, in this game, of course, keeping up the pace as they are, but also picking your head up, seeing what is out there that is maybe creative and different.
Phillipson for the Bobcats lost possession. Here comes Marshall the other way. Under 13 minutes to go and a 6-1 lead for Texas State. Bobcats will improve to 1-0-1 of the Sun Belt and a 5-3-3 overall. Marshall's going to fall to 0-1-1 in Sun Belt play and a 2-4-2 on the year. This will also even up the all-time series. Marshall was 4-1 winners against Texas State in Huntington a couple of years ago. First time ever playing in San Marcos. First trip to the state of Texas in 5 years, but a tough night tonight for the Thundering Herd. As Marshall will throw in here with under 12 minutes to go.
These are also times where you find leaders who emerge who you would not suspect to emerge in a game like this. You know, who's still leading by example, who's still lifting their teammates up. Those are all things that, you know, as an individual player, if you ever find yourself in this position that you can do, you know, okay, we're breaking down as a team. What can I do individually, at least to make sure that I'm doing my part, winning my battles? You know, because that does 100% translate. It's kind of like a practice of maintaining that mentality under any circumstances. I think that really helps you along.
Whistle blows as two players go down. Foul be called here against Marshall. And they'll mark the free kick spot right there in midfield. Look back at this play between Ekstrom, I beg your pardon, and Neal.
Yeah, had her arm over top of the shoulder, and it's going to get you called every time.
Good footwork there by Neal, maintaining possession. Phillipson going to leave it off for Bassa in the 18. And Marshall with the takeaway. A lot of players falling down right now, both teams.
Intensity high, which is good, but even still, you see Crispin telling him, no, get it up. Kind of nice when you're a head coach and you can sit and watch and let your players, you know, play and make the decisions for themselves. Says a lot about his trust in them, and, you know, of course, up by 6, but I think it's probably just observing and seeing what happens in these situations.
So many positives tonight for this Bobcat team. If you're head coach Steve Holman, what are the biggest things you're building upon when you win a match like this?
Well, I think first thing is making sure, you know, I mean, it's good to be goal hungry, but in these situations, it's noticing who's maybe a little too goal hungry, and maybe, you know, if it's changing the way that you're playing as a team, right? You still want to play your game even when you're up, because playing your game is what gets goals, right? And I don't think we've seen any of that. Like there's not any ball hogging or trying to dribble a whole team. They're still very much playing their game. And so between that and just the confidence, you know, reliving that moment when you're in a tough spot moving on throughout the season, which is inevitably going to happen, I think is going to be really key for them. At least they've had a really good win early on, and know how to channel that energy moving forward.
4 different goal scorers. So the 6 goals scored, and of course the other 2 were own goals put in by Marshall. Here's a stat for you. So at the end of the first half, shots was advantage 17-3 Texas State. It's now 20-5. Well, what that means is the Bobcats have scored 3 more goals in the second half on just 3 shots.
There you go. Like, that's a massive improvement. And I think you can tell just from it doesn't look forced. You know, I think they've done well to be a little more patient in finding the seams. So all good stuff there, especially for them to be able to make those adjustments moving into the half.
Under 8 to go now, the 6-1 game. Bobcat goal scorers Mesa, Alarminu, Bassa, and Jr. Own goals knocked in by Ekstrom and Dantas. That early own goal in the second half really kind of felt like the backbreaker as well. It's 3-1. Bobcats certainly had the advantage, but you hear the adage sometimes some that the toughest lead sometimes is a 2-goal lead.
Right. Because you get comfortable and you think, we can, you know, not a bad ball there. Just not the run wasn't timed. But I was gonna say that 2-0 lead is tricky because you're getting momentum and you start to get comfortable and you think, hey, now we can play a little trickier or whatever, and then there's a goal returned. But yeah, just a little bit of a miscommunication there on that last one, but still a good look from Bassa. And then just going back to Alexis Wolgemuth, you know, first goal is an own goal. Second goal is an incredible set piece that no one's going to get to. Third goal is another own goal. So again, I think it's a performance for her that doesn't exactly translate what her ability is. And we've all been there. We've all had own goals. We've all had fouls in the box. We've all, you know, missed the obvious or had the turnover in the worst spot. And I think it's just been a perfect storm for multiple ladies out here tonight.
Saw the Bobcats scoring a corner earlier in the half with Phillipson handling corner duties. Led one of those own goals for Marshall. And here's the corner, and that is a bouncing ball that goes behind the goal. Last touch by Abby Miller. The last time Texas State scored 6 goals in a match, you have to go back to 12 years ago, almost to the day. You look back at the replay. Ball that simply bounced in front of the goal line and then behind the net. September 21st, 2012, 6 goals scored that night against Texas Southern. What was a 6-0 win.
Well, it's about time, I guess, that they brought those scoring ways back, right?
Well, we've gone deep into the record books tonight. Had to look back and see when the quickest goal in program history was scored. And Zoe Jr.'s goal, 12 seconds in, tied the program record. And that stat we just relayed to you as well. 6 goals that night.
Oh.
You think back to that 2012 year, Bobcats were in the WAC, their one and only year then. And, of course, the match against Texas Southern was a non-conference match. So this is an all-time program record for goals scored in a Sun Belt Conference match. Corner for the Bobcats, knocked away by Marshall.
Records being broken left and right between the keepers with 100 career saves each, and then now 6 goals in a Sun Belt match. Quickest goal in history. My goodness. It's a game for the books.
Compton may have taken a shot there to the nose of the face off that corner. Saw her collide earlier with a teammate, Bailey Fisher. So it's been a tough physical night for Compton, the sophomore out of Charleston, West Virginia. Whistle blows right as Wolgemuth was charging into the ball.
Gosh, I feel like that's just par for the course at this point for them here tonight. Poor thing.
Another side added there. So Anna plus Kenley plus Lucy, that is the back line for the Bobcats. Bradley being the center back. Add them all up, and that fan who's been so active tonight says the number is 0 in terms of 0 goals scored. Not quite the number tonight. 1 for Marshall, got 1 by Draper. On a great angle shot from Brooklyn McComas. But since then, nothing past that back line or by Draper or Chrisman.
Well, it's good that they made a poster for the defenders also because, you know, can't give all the glory to the goal scorers. Someone has to hold it down out back.
I'm almost wondering if he has a few blank poster cards that are Sharpie just ready to go.
Oh, probably. For when creative inspiration strikes. He definitely needs one for the duo up top for Zoe Jr. and Maggie. They do so much. It seems like there could be something there. They really deserve to celebrate this game. Done some great stuff, and hopefully coach brings cupcakes to the next practice.
Ava Hall with a free kick. And now we've hit the final 60 seconds.
Can see Texas State. Give them a little bit of space.
Bobcats about to pick up their first Sun Belt Conference win of the season. 5th win overall. We'll be able to climb up the standings a little bit. Been a tough night for the West. Arkansas State, ULM both losing. As we hit the final 5 seconds now, 6-1 Bobcats over the Marshall Thundering Herd. What an offensive night and a record-setting night for Texas State. A program record 6 goals scored in a Sun Belt Conference match, scoring 3 in both halves. With that, now 25-1 all-time in home conference openers.
Nothing short of perfection here tonight from Texas State. Even the own goals were forced